After journeying for some days, Lawrence and Holo finally make it to Pazio, the town where they are supposed to meet Jiren. The town looks very beautiful, and Holo asks Lawrence if a king resides in the town, and he says no. This is basically a town of nobles and merchants. There are no kings in town, and this leaves Holo wondering how there is such a prosperous town with no king. Before they enter the town, Lawrence asks Holo if she doesn't need to hide her face, because people from Pazlo do come around the place, and there is the possibility that they are going to recognize her. She has been in Pazlo for hundreds of years, and there have been several myths and legends about her. Holo then talks about how they have always described her. She is known as a beautiful person, but now, she believes that there is no one who recognizes her again. They have all forgotten me, she says. Holo still fears that they are going to recognize her, but she heads into the town nonetheless. As they enter town, Holo is impressed with the bulk load of delicious groceries that she is looking at. Holo is particularly interested in the apples, and she starts talking about them. This makes Lawrence remember how he was supposed to invest in the apple business, but he had doubts then. He talks about how a friend of his put half his assets into it, and he is now richer than Lawrence. Lawrence considered it a risk, saying he would have invested in a commercial ship instead. As he is talking about this, he notices that Holo is not focused on the talk, and everything on her mind is the apples that she is looking at. She opens her mouth and tells Lawrence that she is interested in eating apples. Lawrence now sees why she is lost in thought, and to sacrifice her cravings, he hands her a silver coin to buy as much apple as she wants. Holo shocks him when she uses the entire silver coin to buy a bulk load of apples. Holo doesn't want to hear Lawrence complaining about this because he was the one who said he could use the entire silver coin to buy apples. Lawrence then tells her that she needs to start earning money, and Holo promises to. Lawrence tries taking from the apples, but Holo stops him. Lawrence tries to point out that he was the one who paid for the apple, but Holo is not ready to share. Lawrence then tells her that she needs to start making money, and fast, because the coin he gave her is meant for their lodgings. After a short while, Holo is done consuming the apples, and she talks about how delicious apples are. Lawrence tries preaching to her about greed and Holo counters with a quote, letting Lawrence know that abstinence gets you nothing but greed still gets you some of the things you badly want. Shortly afterward, they proceed to the Malone Trading Company, where Lawrence plans to sell the pelts he has with him. Holo believes that there are several other companies bigger than this, and Lawrence says yes. However, Malone's main company is farther south, and not in the town. Since they run trades not only in the town, there is the possibility that they have information that runs internationally. And this is the reason Lawrence wants to trade with them, to see if Jiren is actually telling the truth. They arrive at the trading company, and Lawrence is warmly welcomed. He meets with the merchant he will be trading with, and Lawrence is surprised to find out that the guy still remembers his name, even though the last time that they saw each other was 3 years ago. Lawrence tells the man that he has 70 martens of fur pelts to sell. The man is impressed with the pelts and decides not to waste time. Since they have concluded business before, he tells Lawrence that he is willing to pay 132 coins of Trenny silver for the pelts. Lawrence then tells the man how impressive the pelts are and how he would want their relationship to deepen. The man wants the same thing too, and for this, he decides to increase the price to 140 silver coins. Lawrence is about to accept the pay when Holo drags him back, asking him if he is okay with the price, and he says yes. Holo then cuts in, telling the merchant that he is not putting the price that is worthy on the pelts. The merchant doesn't seem to understand and starts to wonder if he has missed something. Holo takes the pelt and asks the merchants to smell it. He does this, and he is impressed with the scene of fruit coming from the pelt. Holo tells the man that these are the best pelts out there because the martens enjoyed the best of fruits. She further tells the man to try and tear it, which he does, and realizes that the pelt is stronger than the average pelt that he is always buying. Holo lets him know that he is going to sell the pelts at an incomparable price, which makes it just nice for him. Holo then asks the man once again how much he wants to purchase the pelts. The man immediately increases his interest in this, telling Holo and Lawrence that he is willing to buy them 200 Trenny silver coins. However, Holo tells the man to make it 210 silver coins. This practically means he bought each pelt for 10 coins each. The man doesn't want to agree to this, and Holo threatens to take the pelts somewhere else, finally forcing the man's hand to pay the huge amount of money for the pelts. Later that night, Lawrence is forced to ask Holo if she has been a merchant before, to which she says no. She knows that Lawrence is impressed with the way she handled the situation, and she lets him know that a merchant in Pazlo has used the trick before, and this is the reason she employed the same trick. Lawrence then talks about the scent of the pelt, and Holo reminds him about the apples. Lawrence cannot believe that the merchant fell for something like that, and Holo says it is his headache. Concerning the new currency system, it doesn't seem Malone knows anything about it either. Lawrence is ready to involve himself with Jiren, as long as he is not losing money in the endeavor. That same night, Holo and Lawrence meet with Jiren. Jiren is happy to see them, and he comments on the quality of the wine that they are drinking, giving him the idea that Lawrence made some good profit from the pelts that were with him. Once they are done with this, they get down to the main business of the day, and this is Jiren giving him information concerning the new currency. Jiren assures Lawrence that the information is pretty dependable, because he got it from a mining town where he once lived. However, he tells Lawrence that businesses are a risk, and they are not always a sure thing. Upon hearing this, Lawrence lets the guy know that he is now more interested than before because he would have turned him down if he had said the business was 100% sure. Lawrence asks Jiren what he wants, and Jiren lets him know that he is going to need 10 trenny silver coins and 10% of Lawrence's profit. He also adds that he is not going to be held responsible if Lawrence runs at a loss. Jiren then tells Lawrence that he suspects the whole deal is going to go down before the end of this year. Lawrence is impressed with the fact that it is even happening in half a year. Since they are in agreement with the deal, Jiren tells Lawrence that they are going to draw up a contract the next day at the public notary tomorrow. Upon getting home, Lawrence starts to show Holo the differences in the coins that are available in the region. Holo is interested in learning this, but she soon lacks concentration and falls asleep because the coins are pretty similar and the differences between them are small. Lawrence lets her know that there are several coins because the church keeps minting new coins anytime a kingdom falls or rises. Before Lawrence can explain further, Holo is deep asleep. The next day, Lawrence and Jiren draw up a contract for their business. Once this is settled, Holo asks him which coin they are banking on, and he shows him the trenny silver coins that are popular in the area. He also talks about how there are plenty of counterfeits for the coins. Holo sees a snack that she is interested in, and she tells Lawrence that she wants it. While they are eating the snacks, Lawrence tells Holo that Jiren's story about the trenny silver coins may be true, but it is still considered the most valuable coins of all. Lawrence then explains to her that a nation is always trying to regulate the use of other currencies on their land. This is them trying to make sure that they are not crippled economically. This is just the same as losing in military warfare if they should allow something like this to happen. Lawrence then tells Holo more about economics, but to avoid confusing her, he tells her that he is going to explain to her in detail as days go by. Later on, Holo and Lawrence meet up with an old acquaintance of his, Wheeze. Wheeze is so carried away by Holo's beauty that he starts simping for her. He doesn't even want to know if Lawrence is there for something quite important. He is still telling Holo sweet things when Lawrence touches him from behind and lets him know that there is business to talk about. He wants Wheeze to show him some recently minted trenny silver coins. Wheeze does this and tells Lawrence that nothing has changed even from the old ones to the new ones. Holo then asks if she can take a look at the coins, and Wheeze says yes. Holo starts to compare them, but Wheeze is very confident that she is not going to see any difference. He says he has been a currency dealer for years, and he has come to the conclusion that there are no changes. Holo makes a funny face, giving them the idea that she is up to something, but she later lets it out that there are no differences. Waits is relieved to hear that he has not lost his touch. Once this is concluded, Lawrence and Holo start to leave. Holo talks about how funny Wise is, and Lawrence replies that he has always been a big womanizer. Holo then reveals that there is a difference between the newer ones and the old ones. She intentionally did not talk while they were at Waze's place. She says the newer coins actually sound duller than the old ones, even though it is gradual. This basically means the purity of the coins has decreased, and the Jiren was just lying. Lawrence says it is easy to make more profit if the purity is increasing rather than reducing. The two later sit down to think about it, and this is when Lawrence realizes that Jiren might not be the one with the deal. Someone must have brought the deal to him, so that they are going to make a profit later when the value of coins decreases. Lawrence immediately stands up to leave, and he tells Holo that they are going to the Malone Trading Company because he has figured something out.